Good evening, fellow morons. Welcome back after a week off. Are we feeling refreshed and ready to rumble?
Aye, man, I'm buzzing.
Absolutely stoked.
Well, some of us had a week off. Some of us had to catch up on movies that they hadn't watched, so I've deliberately not asked them beforehand to make sure that he couldn't get his excuses in. Sean, did you review the movies that you're supposed to watch prior to these ones?
I actually genuinely forgot about the other two films. Thanks for doing that when we're on here.
It's funny because unfortunately we're not live, so you can't see Sean's facial reactions at that point, but that was actually fantastic. I think we should cut that, Daniel, and pop that on the Instagram at some point because you can see the soul leave his eyes there. He knew exactly where I was going with that. But guys, thanks for tuning in to this week's podcast. This week's movies we have got are the Versus Actresses category. Anyone want to tell us the names of the actresses that we have to review this week?
Margot Robbie.
Burnsy's picks.
I saw this.
Aye, so I hadn't seen any of these before, but I wanted to watch Margot Robbie again just because I enjoyed Wolf of Wall Street were in it.
Is it because you enjoyed the movie Wolf of Wall Street?
I'll be honest, you couldn't have picked a worse fucking Margot Robbie one if it was for like appearance.
No, I know.
Well, I think it was up against ICU, and I think one of you were berating that the film as soon as it was picked in, because I think it was like 2 out of 5 on IMDb, or was it even worse than that? Or not 2 out of 10, maybe?
It was worse than that. It was a terrible movie. It was down there with like fucking Crocosaurus versus Mutant fucking Shark.
I was hoping we got to watch that. Another one, because Kel was really not happy with the suggestion that Daniel made, is what other one was Fargo, which includes Frances McDormand for about half the film when I thought she was going to be in the full thing, but there you go. And 50% is quite a extreme percentage, I think, in terms of generous to how much is in the film. So,
well, guys, for
a little dig early for Burnsy, a little dig.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think I said what Margot Robbie's one. It's I, Tonya was the film. I think we just started talking about Margot Robbie instead.
It's just Margot Robbie as a brand rather than the movies that she was in. Guys, to give you a bit of a background of what goes on behind the scenes, you will not believe it, but we regularly argue or debate, I shall say, in the group chat about movies, selections, who wants what. It's I don't know why we're all still friends, to be honest. It goes on a bit far. But yeah, Frances McDormand, sorry. See, I don't even know her name.
That's the whole point. I'd like to talk about this, that your reasoning for not including a 3-time Best Actress Oscar winner was because you personally had never heard of her.
Yeah, I think that was fair. I would have preferred other ones to be in. But we did agree that we would pick movies where the movies are circulated around about these leading actresses or these actresses for to showcase their talents. So having a movie like Fargo in there where she did win an Oscar for leading actress, but we will, I suppose, just go straight in to start talking about this movie then, because we're already at the tip of our tongues with this. My first complaint being is that she's barely a touch in this movie at all. She plays...
Don't exaggerate. You must be a nightmare to argue with your missus, man.
She's actually in it for 26 minutes, a bit longer than the original 6 minutes that you were bumping your gums about in the chat.
So, 26 minutes, and then I think when we were discussing movies to select, I wanted to put forward Les Mis for Anne Hathaway, who I think's in it about 35 minutes, and was told that she's not in the movie long enough. So, if you're interested in what to watch back.
5 minutes to like 3 hours of Les Mis compared to 26 minutes of an hour and a half of Fargo. The ratio was not the same.
It's also like what the film is about. I mean, like, most of this film is about the investigation. She's the cop investigator. And you could have had Les Mis if you wanted. It's just that it didn't make sense to me. And obviously the fact that she won a Best Actress is in a leading role is enough. I will say that I'm not smart enough to argue with the Academy on whether she was a leading actress in this or not.
So I would never argue with the Academy.
No.
I mean, even then, we were talking about one of the film that we all revered and loved, which Sean still to watch, and was Anthony Hopkins. Was it 21 minutes he got an Oscar for? So we can't be picking and choosing how long folk are in films.
You got that one there that Sean didn't watch there. Your point would have been well made even if you'd left that part out. But
Well, I didn't want to argue down the Oscar route of it because she is obviously very good in the movie. When I looked at who else was nominated that year, they're all movies I've not seen. So I think I've just had like a blank of watching movies for this year because I've not seen any of the ones. So you've got Marvin's Room, The English Patient, Breaking the Waves, and Secret Lies. I'd put them in the category of I've not even heard of the movies as well.
I mean, see, we're starting to realise something here. Things that you've heard of narrows things down too much. You don't, just because you've not heard of something, that would make half the movies we watch.
Well, guys,
I was just going to say, I like Fargo. I'm a big fan of this movie. Just to sort of kick us off on our wee reviews that they were supposed to be doing instead of talking shite to each other like we always do.
Well, let me give an overview of the movie first of all. So it came out in 1996. An hour and 38 minutes. It's a Minnesota car salesman, Jerry Lungard's inept crime falls apart due to his and his henchman's bungling and persistent police work of the quite pregnant Marge Gunderson.
She is quite pregnant,
Directed by the fucking Coen brothers.
It was only directed by Joel Coen, I think.
It's got Ethan Coen uncredited here in brackets on IMDb.
Sorry. It's weird because, again, you like to sort of pick these weird wee things you decide you don't like, but then you'll watch a load of stuff and then you'll go, oh, actually, I do like that. You just sort of get it in your head for somewhere. It's weird. Remember you didn't like Jamie Foxx, but then you've liked everything he's been in. But Fargo's class. I think this is a really good movie. I think stylistically it's a cool film. Like, it's really cool to look at. There's loads of scenes that I really appreciate that I don't know, I just really enjoy, even though they might seem like they're meaningless. Like, what's a good example? So when Marge and her husband get down for breakfast the first time you see them, and he's making her eggs, and she gets up and she leaves, and the camera just stays there. So you start to just look at him just like eating his breakfast and like getting on with his day. And it's as if like, why the fuck's this here? And then it's just a bit hard. Then you just see her in the back and it's all in one take where she just comes back in and she just needs a jump start. Now, that scene is meaningless, but so many of those little scenes in it all together make you really like the characters and make you, especially Marge, like you get really involved in everything about her because she just seems like a normal person. Mm-hmm. And like, what's a good example? See when you see her like on the phone and she's phoning in to get like information for the actual station and all this sort of stuff, right? And then she'll be like, "Oh, where can I go and eat?" And there's like all this casual stuff in between her day-to-day work, and that's what it would actually be like. See when you watch all these films where there's cops and they're just like 100% focused on getting the guy, and it's all about, and it's just like intense all the time. That's not what it's like. When you go, I mean, it's just a job. So she's like, she plays the part perfectly. Like she's a real cop that does this all the time, that knows what she's doing, and she cares about if she's getting a nice coffee, and everything's like casual to her. And I do really also enjoy the fact that she's 7 months pregnant, and they don't fall down the typical. I mean, for you guys who hadn't seen this film before,
me.
I've never seen
Hunter, I appreciate that you put your hand up for that one there, but we are on a podcast.
This is perfect if none of you have seen this then, right? How early did you think there was going to be some sort of issue with her and the baby?
Yeah, defo. Like it was in the mind of.
Never really crossed my mind, to be honest.
Oh, fuck's sake.
I felt like they made a point of letting you know.
Most people, when they see something like that, they think that a detail like that is added because it's part of the plot. Yeah. You know what? That just shows you how clever this is as a film. Is that it puts in all these things, but what it's showing you is like it feels like this is just a genuine story. This is just something that happened, and everyone feels like they're just natural, real people in it. They're not. I know that like Steve Buscemi's character is quite over the top, and the guy who Prison Break, he's class in it, the silent good murderer, and they're quite like crazy characters and all that. But it manages to keep it all like really subdued, and It never feels over the top or stupid in any way. I don't know. I just really like this film. And then, like, as you've got all that intense stuff going on, the wee story with what's your guy Kyle that you like, William Macy.
Yeah.
His character, you could even pull him out of that film and put him into like an 80s comedy where a similar thing's happening, where he's got his wife abducted and it's all going wrong. Do you know what I mean? And he's like such a fucking idiot. And I like those characters you see. It's quite common in these sort of films for this sort of time period where it's just a guy unraveling completely. He's just got himself in far too deep and everything just gets worse and worse and worse for him every single step. And I like just seeing him completely go from this timid wee loser to just like slowly just going more and more fucking mental as he goes on. And by the end, he's getting caught by the cops. And I like the scene that you just see him get his comeuppance. But I could talk for ages about this film, so I'm going to pass it on to you guys that haven't seen it, and I'll probably come back and argue with you in a minute.
Just to jump on a bit on the William Macy's character, I know we were watching this because of the actress, and like I said, Frances McDormand is really good in it, right? And as an actress who I've not been very familiar with her work, I'll say politely, William Macy was by far the best person in this. As much as I did like Steve Buscemi as well, because I think Steve Buscemi plays. It's hard to not like him in any film. I can't imagine a film I've seen I've not liked him in it. So
I genuinely like cast in this film. I don't think there's anyone that plays their part badly in this.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'd say so as well.
So I feel like but William Macy's character, because he's really unlikable, he's a sleazy salesman, he's lying to folk all the time, but he's not even that good at that he gets caught out. He's only got the job because of who he is and who he's related to. And he's just he's came up with this master plan that this money is going to help him out of the hole that he's put himself into, which it's evidently not, because he's not as smart as what he thinks he is.
It's funny that that's a theme in both of these movies this week. It's like really stupid plans, like poorly executed.
Yeah.
I was going to ask as well, does it ever come out in the film what he needs the money for in terms of how he's so skinned?
No, I was going to add that on as it be. The only thing missing for me would be the scene that maybe the middle part or the end. So you got an idea of how he's got himself in so much debt in the first place. That would be really good to kind of see that unraveling. Maybe he was a bit switched on, and maybe I don't know if it's gambling or I don't know what it is, but he seems obviously his life. But obviously it's unraveled to a point where the film starts. It would have been nice to see a bit of the crescendo, a bit of the downfall to that point where the film starts.
Because it makes sense in terms of why he didn't want. When he goes to the start and he obviously says to the people that are going to kidnap his wife that he can understand not wanting to tell them or whatever, but he would have thought. That's why I was thinking I missed something. Maybe it was sort of mentions it's to somebody by mistake, or there's like a scene that I've not picked up on of where he's actually, I don't know, somebody's like phoning him and saying how much money he owes or something like that. But
no, it's because he wants to buy this plot to build this fucking car park. Right? So he needs like $750,000 or whatever minimum. And he's already, so the conversation he keeps having with the guy that keeps phoning him is because to get that, he has made up fake cars and put through fake finance.
Oh, so it's just that I've not spotted at the start that he's not actually, he just needs that, he just wants that land to...
Aye, so he's got himself too much, trying to get this land, he's got himself too much in the hole, because he's ended up, he's fraudulently been getting money through his business, and then now that's all cut up with him. And he was trying to go and get the money for his fucking father-in-law who never wanted to do it. And then ultimately he was trying to con those two and he's thinking it was only for 80,000, but it was for $1 million.
Oh, I got that. Yeah. I just wondered if I'd missed something at the start. I'll just carry on. At the start, it's like William Macy's character. I like I said, is the other cast where I thought did really well. It's like, it seemed like bizarre though that he just seemed that laid back about his wife getting kidnapped for a start. Like, you'd think he might be a bit torn. Like, imagine if any of you, always have got partners, and like, if you're in that much debt.
No, I'll take her.
I was hoping you would have said something like that. It didn't seem as if they were having problems at home. Like, it seemed as if their family was going all right, and then he was just quite laid back about her getting kidnapped.
Do you know? I thought you got the reaction from him though. See, every time he thought he was getting his hands on that money a little bit, he was then trying to get back in touch with him to like, because he goes looking for the guy working in the shop to get so he can get in contact with him because he believes that he's getting the money that he needs.
Yeah.
So like,
he's just a selfish little bastard that just wants all the money. He doesn't give a fuck about anybody. He doesn't care about his son. He keeps leaving his son on his own and like forgets that he's there and all that sort of shit. Like he doesn't care about anyone. He's a wee dick.
No, he is. It was more just the fact is obviously she could get kidnapped and then there's just two random guys that could do anything they want. They could kill her like as soon as they got anywhere. Basically, it just seemed really back with the whole thing as long as they got the money. I thought like there was when Daniel mentions about Marjorie's husband is like he came down the stair the first scene and all he wanted to talk about was bloody eggs. I thought that was going to be his thing for the full film. I think he said eggs like 20 times. And then he started talking about stamps. That was all he brought to the film. But it was I found it quite funny though. It wasn't one of those things that was grating on me. It was just the fact that he that's all he seemed to want to talk about. And then also I spotted this like her colleague when they first go to realise that the car's been flipped over and the cop's been shot, is that she obviously clicks on straight away what's happened. And all her colleague can go is like, yeah. It seems as if the colleague's actually useless, and then she's the only one that actually can solve the crime. And obviously she does move on and just like go on her own and try and solve the crime, which makes sense because the guy that was with her, he seemed absolutely hopeless. I thought like for me, I really did enjoy the film. We'll go over what Daniel said because I agree with pretty much all of it. The only bits that I thought was that it seemed as if it was really straightforward for. From when Frances McDormand's character gets involved, it seems as if everything just goes quite swimmingly for her in terms of she realises, we'll go and see the two people at the hotel. We've realised that they phoned the garage. We've realised this, and then there's not really any obstacles in our way. But I think that's probably partly because the film's only an hour and a half, so they were trying to fit everything in one go. Whereas I think maybe they could have done it a wee bit. It could have been a bit longer. And maybe show you more of her trying to investigate the crime, but it did sort of go quite quick because she's not in it until half an hour into the film as well. I thought like the bit about where she meets her schoolmate, that was just no needed at all. I don't really see the point in that where she meets someone and realises he's ill and he's obviously wanting to try and get with her. I thought that could have been cut out completely, maybe spent a bit more time with that. And also when what's the guy's name? Jerry's wife, when she gets kidnapped and then they take her to the lodge or whatever it was, and then she's got her hands tied and there's obviously it's all covered in snow and she can't see. It's like her just falling about the snow and that was quite funny, even though obviously you shouldn't probably be finding it funny because somebody's been kidnapped and their life's in danger, but because she was just running about and just couldn't balance herself and just rattling across into the snow. I thought she was going to smash her head off one of the trees at one point. And another thing I'm hoping one of you can explain to me is that when obviously Carol realises that he's got the £1 million, right? So he gets the £1 million, he wants to split it, which is fine. He makes it. Well, he wants to obviously go and give his pal the 40 grand and keep the rest for himself.
Aye.
Why does he bother arguing with him about a bloody car when he goes to the place? Like, obviously, you could just say it's pure greed. But if you think about it, if you were in that position, would you not think, you know what, I'm going to go and get 900 grand that I've hidden away somewhere? The last thing I want to do, because he's seen the other guy shoot people. He knows he's got that in him. He knows if he's with a decent guy that's not going to hurt him. I just didn't see that coming, which I guess was good, but I thought for the plot point of view, it seemed a bit random to add that bit in at the end.
I think at that point he's mentioned he'd been awake for 36 hours and he'd had like half his face shot off and all that. I think he just like watched the like I don't think in any other circumstance he would have even wanted to like pick a fight with a guy, or he probably would have even fucking split all the money. I think he just fucking went mental after getting his face shot off and that.
Aye. I could understand more if he was the one that was doing it, if the other guy wasn't the one that was doing all the shooting. It was more just the fact it looks like he. And I thought, I don't know who was that person that was playing the other guy? Not Steve Jamie, the other one.
He's the guy that's got Prison Break and Armageddon. I always forget his name.
He
always played.
Pete Stormare.
Right.
That's it.
I thought he was class though because he obviously he said very little, but he actually came across as just like a silent assassin, which what he was really. And then I think the last bit. I think the bit about the wood chopping incident that was disgusting.
That's class.
But it was obviously at that point I was just like shaking my head, but I was like laughing a bit because it was that sick. In terms, I was like, why would you even come up with this part about shoving somebody's body in a bloody wood chopping machine? But no, I thought it was really enjoyable. The only bit was maybe just that it was a bit too short, and there was a few things that they could have cut out to maybe show a bit more investigation instead of it just going from 0 to 100 basically.
Buns, I think you've come out of it wondering who's the dad to the baby. Surely there's going to be a third person in that little triangle. Would have just made that complete for you, wouldn't have?
No, well, sorry. When Daniel mentioned earlier about the pregnancy, it was quite good to. At the start, I did think there was going to be something with the pregnancy. I thought it was going to be that she was going to fall pregnant, like while she's arresting him or something, or not fall pregnant, like give him birth.
She arrests him.
I thought she was going to give birth while she's arrested. Our waters are going to break while she's arresting them or something like that. But I thought it was good to me they did that because it was just something subtle, and it shows that obviously people that are pregnant they can go about their normal life and it doesn't affect them instead of everyone thinking, oh, she's pregnant, something will happen with the baby or anything like that. It was a different line, and maybe other films should actually do that because usually when you see that kind of stuff, it's centered around that, which it doesn't need to be.
There you go. So it was more of a reality rather than a plot point for you, Burnsley.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad she was already pregnant at the start instead of falling pregnant partway through.
I was going to say, this film's totally opened my eyes to how pregnant women can lead such a normal life. I never knew that was so possible before I'd watched this. It's really changed everything for me.
You take the piss at me there,
Sean. Cancel words it.
You said it just goes to show that they can lead a normal life when they're pregnant.
No, my point was, it's like usually if people are writing a film, then they would centre it around that instead of just thinking, well, it's common knowledge that people can actually have a normal life. They don't need to just be lying on their back.
Buns, I'm going to jump in here and save you from digging any more as you're talking about women lying on their backs. Fucking hell. I want to come in and swiftly change the subject. My favourite thing...
Genuinely, we need to stop watching films that have got pregnant people in it now.
Anyway, my favourite thing about this whole film, and it's not really been brought up, is just the scenery of it. I loved it. I thought the look of it was really good. And as much as I don't typically enjoy watching Coen Brothers movies because they're not for me, as we'll put it to that, I quite enjoyed watching them driving the roads, all the snow and the land that they were in. That to me was all really, really cool. And I think that gave a lot bigger props to the movie than what I enjoyed about the storyline, because the storyline can obviously there's holes here, there and everywhere, but I did enjoy watching it as much as I've moaned a little bit about it being a Coen Brothers movie and that the leading actress is only in it for about 4 minutes or something like that. Sorry, Sean, you're not on the trivia, so can you please pipe down with that kind of stuff? That's it, fuck it. That's Hunter just scoring out one of his 2 trivia points that he's got.
Which Coen Brothers movies do you not like apart from Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
So ones I've seen like that, the old brother, They're Out or some shit like
that. That's class.
I never enjoyed that. We've watched another one on here, which was a Coen Brother movie as well, didn't we?
No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, that's absolute garbage too.
Gave that 4 minutes.
That was only because I was guilty, didn't it? Really. True Grit is another one.
Did you like True Grit?
Nah, and probably the most overrated movie I've ever heard or seen is The Big Lebowski.
Oh, I love The Big Lebowski too.
To be fair, I've never seen it. I just wanted to see what the reaction would be to that.
Oh, I was quite surprised. You like The Big Lebowski. It's good.
No, I'm going to dislike it now that you've said that.
You like White Russians, Kyle?
Aye.
I like the drinks as well. Sean, what was your thoughts on the...
I'd never ever seen Fargo, but I was really looking forward to seeing it because I watched the TV series and I absolutely loved the TV series. Well, the first series especially was absolutely tremendous. So if anyone's not watched it, go and watch the first series of Fargo, even the rest of them if you want. But it was... I don't want to talk too much about the series, but I just really enjoyed it because the series was really true to the characteristics of the film, like just their wee kind of quirky accents and their quirky wee conversations. It's already kind of been touched on, and like their wee kind of one-liners as well. I just absolutely loved it all. Steve Buscemi again. We've watched quite. I feel like we seem to be watching him every second week just now, but we've seen him in this and the Tarantino one. What was that called again? Reservoir Dogs. What have we just recently watched anything else with Steve Buscemi in it? It feels like it.
I don't think so. Maybe.
Not I can think of.
But anyway, he was really, really good. And your man for Prison Break, I forgot his name already. Again, he doesn't seem to have aged a single day from, what was this, 96?
Aye.
And I think I watched something with him in it quite recently, but racking my brain, I can't remember what it is. I'll need to look it up. But again, just looks the exact same.
Like John Wick, knowing you, Sean.
He's
in John Wick. That's what I've seen. I watched John Wick recently. He's in that.
Actually, it was actually.
It was Reservoir Dogs. Steve Buscemi's in, so we did watch that. Like
we're talking about the other guy.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about Steve Buscemi. You said there.
No, I was saying that it was that as well. But no, I really enjoyed it. I really leaned toward Daniel's point of view. I thought Kyle was going to absolutely slaughter it. Kind of going by what he was saying in the chat and stuff. Obviously, he was focusing on the 6 minutes. But no, it was just really enjoyable. It's quite a simple, straightforward plot. Man in a hole, selfish man in a hole wants to get money. Not really fakes his wife's kidnapped because she does get kidnapped. You don't really see much of his wife apart from when she's face down with a chair hanging out her arse, really. She's strapped to it.
I thought first she was going to be Frances. I thought that was Frances McDormand at first. And
Did
then
you?
I was like, just because I saw her on the screen at the start, and then I realised it wasn't her.
Can we get face down with chair hanging out her arse as the name of the podcast?
But obviously she's like a big part of the story, but she's just you never really see her. Of course she's quite irrelevant because she's not getting tortured or anything. It's all a ploy to get money, obviously, so there's no real intent to harm her or anything like that until she gets chucked in the wood chipper at the end. What I did, and I was absolutely, and I don't know if it was meant to be like this, but what I did find quite funny, see when, so after they've shot the policeman, and then I can't remember his name, but the guy for Prison Break turns the car around and goes after to see the car drove past him, and there's that moment where I'm saying to myself, just fucking chuck the policeman to the side. There's a car coming, and Buscemi's just standing there, like looking back at the car, and looking at this car coming in the headlights, and like fucking move, just chuck the boy, and then you just see that car goes past, and they're just staring at him like that in disbelief. This guy's holding a dead policeman, so he turns the car back round, and then obviously the car skids off the road, and the boy who was driving the other car gets out, and he like sees that he's got a gun, and he's just running into a field of snow. And like he's got like dressed in black, and like, where the fuck are you gonna go, pal? And then at the end, when your man's putting her in the wood chipper, he does the same thing, just runs off into a field of snow when he's faced by the postman. So I found that quite funny. I don't know if it's intentionally meant to be funny or no, but it's like that dream where you have where you just can't get away from anybody, and you're just running in a straight line, and you're just going nowhere. That's what that reminded me of. But no, I've been meaning to watch Fargo for a while, ever since I watched the series, which was obviously a good few years ago now when it first came back out. I think it was 2014 or something. So I'm glad I eventually got around to it, and I did really enjoy it. Would definitely watch it again.
Happy days. Hunter, what was your thoughts, mate?
I'm just thinking we're beating the same drum as everyone else. I really enjoyed this. Again, I've never got into watching a TV series, so it's definitely been on my list for a while. But so I was glad that we got a chance to watch it to kind of help set the scenery and obviously get I feel for it now before going in to watch that. But again, just to sort of echo what everyone has said so far, it's great. The scenery, the setting, just like all the cinematography, how it's all sort of dark and moody and gloomy. It's all winter. I mean, I've been not in Minnesota where this is set. I've been kind of Ohio at that kind of similar place. It's kind of all these sort of wee rural towns. There's like one pub and one gas station. It's like a shop that everyone goes to and everyone sort of knows everyone. I've been there at that time. Like, well, in winter, I don't know what time of year, the specific time of the year this is actually set, but it's kind of I do enjoy all that. And then obviously with Frances McDormand, I know we've touched on it already, but I think for me with her being pregnant, I just like an extra layer with the character. Like, she seems to be the most switched on person, and obviously you talk about, you go back to the way modern life is now. Women are on maternity leave, and here she is out solving crimes and shooting murderers down in the middle of frozen lakes. And just, like I said, with the first encounter of the dead bodies on the road, and the guy's like, "Oh, dear laugh, after I can't get this number plate read," which you know it's actually a dealer plate, and then like, oh, actually it is. Like, and then obviously, like, even like the kind of what Daniel touched on, that sort of homely scene at the start with him as well, with her and Norm, and like the fact that obviously he's just like an artist who designs stamps, and like she's like the main breadwinner. And I like the scenes where they're together, like just that they've just. I've got it in the trivia, but it's the homeliness and the warmth that you feel, that even though he might not be her perfect maybe husband that she maybe imagined when she was younger, but the life that they've got together, like, you know for a fact that if she had obviously she gets the chance, obviously you do find that guy's got schizophrenic problems or whatever, but he comes across as some sort of multi-millionaire engineer, and she's got a chance to chuckle what she's built away, and she's like, "No, I'm happy with Norm. This is the life we've got. I'm very happy." So again, it's just so warming to watch her character, and obviously the fact that she's badass as well, and is it shooting folk. And I know we've kind of everyone touched on it, but Shamey's class, it's William Macy. I like the unraveling, the downward spiral he goes on through the film again. I don't think I've actually watched that much, and I kind of watched him in Shameless and a couple of other things, but it was nice to actually see him in a leading role, and he's done very well in this for me. But again, definitely invested in this. I will go back and get onto the TV series at some point when I've got the time. And as Sean said, if someone's looking for a recommendation, I would point them towards this if they've not seen it.
Well, fucking.
Right. See, if you're watching the series, there's quite a few little appearances for Always Sunny cast members as well.
Can we go a fucking day we were there talking about Always Sunny? Didn't watch Always Sunny. Always Sunny, it's shite. Hunter, just go straight in with some trivia, my man.
Yes, I will do. So, the role of Carol was specifically written for Steve Buscemi. Whilst researching the Minnesotan accent, all the actors read a book called How to Speak Minnesotan. So in the film, when Carol meets Jerry, when he calls him and tells him we've got 30 minutes to wrap this, from that point on to the end of the film is 30 minutes of runtime left. So again, that's quite a little clever.
I like that.
Yep. The wood chipper that was used, and everyone's favourite scene, is actually on display at the Fargo Moorhead Visitor Centre. So if you're ever passing by Minnesota and you want to go see something, it's on display. Frances McDormand and Joe Cohen have actually been married since the 1st of April 1984, and they have one child together.
Wow.
There you go.
Jobs for the boys getting Frances in that role there anyway.
She's been in quite a few other films now that I think about it. I never knew that.
And me neither. I was amazed. And especially a Hollywood marriage has actually lasted that length of time as well. I guess that's what I was more astounded at.
Aye.
So 3 weeks into filming, the Coen brothers revealed to the cast that this is not in fact a true story, whereas I was convinced it was a true story, even after watching it.
It tells you at the start that it's a true story as well.
Aye. I mean, it does a convincing job, like I said earlier on, in making it feel like a real life thing. You could definitely get away with saying that this is definitely something that happened, especially in America where those stuff fucked.
Most probably has happened somewhere.
My common themes for the two films this week were A, they were both things that happened in real life and someone's made a film about them, and B, bungling hit jobs that have gone wrong. That was my common themes, and one's just been wiped off of me for that trivia fact.
Two movies that were potentially based on an event that may have happened in someone's life at some point that someone's spoken about, someone's wrote them, someone's filmed.
Aye, that one. So Harvey Fresnel, who plays Wade, they hadn't made a film in over 20 years before doing this. Come across well for somebody that's got 2 decades of scratching his arse. And every scene with Margot Robbie, they're either in bed or eating. And none of the film is actually filmed in Fargo. The one scene where it's the pub is actually filmed in North Minneapolis.
So a movie called Fargo, not filmed in Fargo, with the leading actress who's barely in the film at all.
We're about to go and watch Batman next week. That's in Gotham City that was filmed in Glasgow.
Yeah,
we should just scrap that.
Pretty much the same thing, though, eh?
Hey, we should just scrap that.
I'm going to time it. If Batman makes over 6 minutes of screen time, then we'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone want to add anything more to talk about Fargo over the glowing recommendation that the TV show has also had?
And I could talk about Fargo for ages, man. Like, I love this film. So many good things about it. Like, I'm glad that everyone picked up loads of little different things. This was one of the weeks I was worried. I was like, oh, they're going to shit all over one of my favourite things, but I'm glad.
So I really went in with the thoughts of I'm not going to enjoy this, with that predetermined thought of it's a Coen Brothers movie. I've never really watched anything with Frances McDormand in it. The one thing I can remember is Almost Famous, which was absolute garbage. Thanks for that, Laura. And then I was watching it and I'm like, it's one of those movies where it's not like I wouldn't rush back to watch it straight away, but I enjoyed it. It was a good movie to watch. I'd maybe watch it again in 5 years' time or something like that, where I forgot a little bit about it. But no, I was pleasantly surprised, is how I'll say. Although Burnsy was the one that selected these movies, Daniel was most passionate about them, so you kick us off with your scoring first of all, please, Daniel.
I tried to keep this in scale of like what we've watched already and given top scores to, so I'm giving it a 4.5.
Okay, now. Burnsy?
4.25 for me.
Sean?
A 4.
4. Hunter?
4.25 for me as well.
A 4.25. And I'm going to go... I mean, I was swivering between a 3.75 and a 4, but I'm going to upvote it to the 4. I was sure... I was like, is it really is it a 4 for me? But in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it is a really good movie. Burns, what does that do to an overall scoring?
Overall, that's a 4.2.
4.2. So a 4.2 on our leaderboard is really high. People will be well surprised by that. This brings it into a joint 14th, well, it will replace Fight Club on 14th on our list. So just ahead of Die Hard and Home Alone, and just behind Whiplash, Pulp Fiction, and There Will Be Blood.
Good place. Good company. It's in good company.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, that's to be fair, that is not bad at all. So that does wrap up Fargo for there. Just before we move on to the next movie, we're going to come across to Sean to find out if we've had any comments coming through our Instagram account. Just whilst he gets that up and ready, if you haven't already followed our Instagram, it is Morons Reviewing Movies. You'll find us on there. Please pop the comments in below. You'll get the star of the show, Sean, reading them out if they're particularly funny. He spends a lot of time researching the best ones to pick before we go live and before we do this recording. He's a busy man with all these extra movies that he needs to watch, so make it funny.
It's not really so much as comments I've got. I was pointed in the direction of a conversation that had taken place under one of our posts, so I'm just going to read out the conversation because I found it quite humorous and interesting. So this was under the post where we actually announced the winners of this week's films, obviously I, Tonya and Fargo, and we've got an interesting fella called, or female, not really sure, profiles, not got a single post up, Wakanda Forever. Ab Ishek Sharma So, sorry if I've got that wrong, Abhishek. But Abhishek posted on our page, bearing in mind that we hadn't reviewed these films at all. Now, he must think that, I don't know if any of you guys are used to be on the old Habbo Hotel chat room back in our younger days, or ever heard of it. I don't know if you ever have, no? So essentially, this actually reminded me of it. So what Habbo Hotel was, you basically built a wee character and you built a room and you could arrange your furniture. Think it like a free version of The Sims, but it's much less in detail. And obviously these people could go into your rooms and you could chat to them. As you can imagine, as any chat room it's full of absolute wrongings. And what would happen is that if you put in a swear word, it would then basically come up saying Bubba. So if I said fuck you, it would say Bubba you. And that's just how. But anyway, so what people used to do to get to my point is to get around that. Obviously, 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds are absolute masterminds. Is they basically put F space U space C space K to get around the swear word. So this guy here says your literal MORONS, and he's spaced it out like that to give lame ratings. So he's obviously again using our name, morons, to cause morons. To which I'm pretty sure it's Daniel, who then replied correctly, we haven't even rated these yet. And he's basically then went on a bit of a tangent. Not these, but ones before, like Godfather in capitals and Up. How TF the fuck is Up having better ratings than Godfather? Are you five guys DUMB or some sort? So Abhishek is calling us dumb or some sort of dumb, but the silly bastard knows is writing all his swear words with spaces in them. He's then also said fucking, and again spaced it out. Terminator has more ratings too, to which Daniel's replied, Terminator is a stone cold classic, to be fair. And then all of that stuff. In reality, four of us rated it very highly and one of us didn't like it all. It's The Godfather which brings it down. It's almost like different people like different things. Imagine that. It's baseless. That's all AO. Not what fuck AO means. And then he said, it's just five guys talking about movies that they like and dislike and why. Not worth getting mad about. And my favourite part of this is, man, we look up to y'all. I've seen your ratings before, that's why. It was good back then, now I don't know. It's changed. So, and then he just stops. There's nothing after, so. But I just found that conversation pretty interesting. Really probably no worth Daniel's time in getting back to the stupid cunt, but thanks for the feedback, I suppose, Abhishek.
The best thing about it is by the end, he started off like one of the crazy folk that we always get on. But by the end, it felt like it was like a disgruntled fan that's been with us from the start and he doesn't like it. Like, go back, like at the start, your new material shite. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's basically like I would be very surprised if there is anybody out there that looks up to us in any sort of way, whether it's for film ratings or how we are as people. If you look up to five people on Twitch who regularly have around 30, 40 to 50 to 60 people watching us, then you need to get a fucking grip of your life.
But we will be aware, if you are following us, you have followed us for quite some time and we've not quite offended you yet, we will at some point. We will pick one of your movies that you really like and one of us will shit all over it, probably Sean, and then you'll be upset and then you'll go at Daniel in the comments for it.
People get mad at me because of Sean quite often.
It gives me something to read out. People keep getting angry.
Yeah, man.
No, I appreciate that. That is it.
We get to next movies and Sean's got to watch Into the Spider-Verse. Folk are going to try and fucking kill us.
Oh, God.
I'm looking forward to that wee cartoon. Is it just like a wee kind of 20-minute hang or is it? Normally what cartoons last for.
Well, what we could just put 6 of these non-cohesive episodes together. We'll call it a movie like we did with Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Oh, you're like thinking me?
What's the cartoon with that? Like, I don't get it.
Weird, strange tangent.
Strange. Well, it's not like us to do that at all, is it? So let's jump on to our next movie. Selected again by Burnsy. Burnsy seems to know his actresses.
Very well.
And Burnsy knows what the followers want. We have got Margot Robbie starring in I, Tonya. So, competitive ice skater Tonya Harding rises amongst the ranks at the US Figure Skating Championship, but her future in the activity is thrown into doubt when her ex-husband intervenes. Burnsy, let's come to you first.
Let's go to Bunzy first.
Alright, okay.
Was there a fucking echo in here?
Sorry?
Is there an echo in here?
So out of the two movies that we're reviewing this week, I thought I was going to enjoy this one more, but I didn't enjoy this as much as Fargo. I thought it was decent, but I think the film tried to obviously, I know it's based on a true story, and obviously with the two people as narrators and giving different viewpoints, it seemed as if they were trying to go... they should have concentrated either more on the ice skating or concentrated more on their relationship, whereas they tried to have half and half, I thought, whereas you didn't get enough background, her as ice skating, or background enough about, obviously she was in an abusive relationship with her husband, and then a relationship with her mother when she was younger, and she was abusive to Tonya as well. I don't know what way I would have went with it, but it just that's what was sort of down the middle for me, instead of being really impressed by it. I thought Alison Janney, Tonya's mother, I thought she was class, just in terms of her reactions, the words, even just the way she was acting or the line she was given. I thought they were perfect in terms of you could act, although I'm suggesting there is they didn't go that in depth for her relationship when they was younger. You had a bit of an idea as to what it was like, and you could imagine that character being like that to her as Tonya as her daughter, in terms of working all the time and try to give her all the to make her a really good ice skater, but at the same time being angry at her when she's not successful and doesn't seem, well, from her point of view, just doesn't appreciate it, etc. I didn't spot until after the film that apparently Tonya was only 15 when she started seeing her husband, Jeff, and he was at 18. Did you pick that up in the film, no?
I think he was 16.
No, I said 18. Well, I read it was 18, so I might be wrong, but...
I'm sure I've seen it
about being 15 at the time. I guess the mum, when they go out for the date, there is a mention about their ages mentioned at one of these scenes in the film at that point.
Aye, I didn't pick up on that, but...
so she's narrating it when Tonya Harding's voice is voicing it over. She mentions that she's...
All right, okay.
It says here that they began a relationship when she was 15, he was 17.
All right, okay, I read 18, but even still, yeah. I just wondered if that was picked up. I thought Margot Robbie, sort of the way she portrays Tonya is, although the film's obviously set to try and make your own mind up as what you believe throughout it. I think she does a really good way of making you believe Tonya's character, because she makes you feel sympathetic towards Tonya, and through her acting and also just her reaction similar to her mother when it's going through the film. I thought the way that it went with the death threats and stuff like that is, I don't know if it was meant to be done like this, but it seemed that ridiculous. Not obviously Tonya getting the death threats, but when they're going to try and do that to our rival, it seemed that ridiculous, the people that were getting to do that. It was never going to work, and also they were always going to get caught when they go and just hit her. I don't know if it was meant to be shown in that way, but I just thought, is this actually how it happened? Because you would have thought if they were going to do something like that, it would have it a lot more tighter in terms of being able to do it without getting caught, whereas it was just obvious that the FBI were going to catch, or the police were going to catch up with them.
I think you'll give it a bit.
I obviously don't know these people in real life at all, but they're that fucking stupid that they come up with this absolutely ridiculously stupid plan that they ended up just walking past her and hitting her with a bat or whatever it was. But it is just basically portraying them as thick as fuck, because that's what they actually are.
I know it's
got a wee bit of kind of comedic element to it, because they're just really, really, really stupid, and the plan is really, really, really stupid and pointless, because she came back relatively quickly, and she was skating again. I can't remember the lass's name.
It was based on a true story as well. That's why I wasn't sure if they'd done it that way, or if that is actually what is meant to have happened. In terms, it was just that stupid, and the people that were behind it were just that thick that they thought they could get away with doing that, or whether it was meant to be done that way as comedic value for the film. But
I think it's just one of those things. It's just that ridiculous that it's actually true, or it's as close to the true life actually that it can be.
See, if you go on YouTube, you can actually get like the real clip of the lassie. It doesn't show her getting hit, but basically she finishes sketch, goes behind the curtain, and then it like cuts back to the curtain, and she's screaming on the floor, and like, because in the film it's not really clear what she gets hit with, because I originally thought it was like a knife and they slashed her leg or something, but they basically just cracked her knee with like a pipe or a bit of a stick.
I thought it was.
Except one of the battens that they put the so kind of, it's like a normal size that it extends and then hit her with one of them.
Aye, because like you can, it's on YouTube, like the actual her getting carried out and stuff like that. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but I watched it after the film anyway.
And also the bit I find quite funny is after that point when the guy's like thinking, right, how do I get out of here? And they've not obviously even thought an escape plan, touching out of the venue, and he ends up like headbutting his way through, and said, first of all, thinks, I'll just try and open the door. You think they maybe would have done like a dry run of that to try and see, right, where can we actually get out of here? As I said, that was just a bit ridiculous, but I thought, like, I enjoyed how much music there was throughout the film. I thought it was good in the background. I couldn't really, I'm horrendous at remembering what music there was, but I definitely noticed that throughout. And I just thought that it could have maybe went a bit more in depth in terms of how Margot Robbie's character gets to the stage of skating progressing and getting to the World Championships, or also in terms of the relationship she had with her husband, and because it just seems as if the abuse sort of came out of nowhere, and then obviously it starts and they sort of get back together and split up and all that kind of stuff, and it begins again, but you're not really finding out maybe what's going through her mind and what's going through his mind. So I thought it just lacked a wee bit in certain areas, but it was enjoyable enough, but it wasn't something that I think I was expecting a lot more going in, so I was slightly disappointed. I
think that sorry to just jump in, whoever was next, but
that was me. It was when you
like when you say there about like how you felt that it didn't really concentrate too much on one aspect of either the skating or her relationship, whether it was growing up with her mum or with her husband and stuff like that. I thought that it was what they'd done in terms of her background and how she was as a person. I thought it was perfect because it did give you there wasn't a relationship with her mum. Her mum was an absolute cunt, basically. Which then led to Tonya being a cunt as well. She was a cunt to her trainer. She was a cunt to her competitors. Obviously, her husband was then a cunt to her. Constantly fighting with each other and the domestic abuse, all that kind of stuff. But I thought there was quite a good background in this particular film. I don't think that it's supposed to be focused too much around the skating per se. I know that there is elements to it, obviously, where she does the triple axel or something, and they focus quite a bit on that. And then her failure at the Olympics with it, and then obviously the incident where trying to take out the competitor. But I would disagree with you there in terms of I thought that the background they gave on her growing up, you seen what she was like when her dad left. Her dad, I suppose, he wasn't really in it that much, but the way that she was cut up, being left with her mum and her dad's leaving, and she can't go with him, he probably seemed like the only kind of reasonable person in the film or in her life as a child. But I thought they'd done really well to show how much of a shit upbringing she had with her mum, and then it just basically turned her into a nasty person. I've got no sympathy for her throughout this film at all, even though she never dealt the blow to her competitor, but she was nasty to pretty much everybody in the film. I didn't really know much about Tonya Harding before this. The only thing that I did know is that she was a bit of a joke character, and I think that was through The Simpsons ripping the piss out of her or something like that. But I'm no big on figure skating or whatever it's called.
Do you know?
No, surprisingly not.
You beat me to that.
I didn't really know the background. I knew there was something that wasn't I knew that she wasn't particularly well kind of liked in America. I didn't know the reason until this film was picked, and now obviously I understand why. But no, I disagree with you, Craig, there about the background stuff, and just to put my own thing, I didn't feel sorry for Tonya at all. And obviously, domestic abuse and things like that, I'm not going to get into saying that's just ridiculous. But in terms of her character and her as a person, she was nasty to pretty much everybody in the film. she seemed like a really nasty person, and you could probably say that it is due to her upbringing and stuff like that, because she is still relatively young even when the film ends. She's only like 24, 25.
I have like an element of sympathy for her when she's performing with the best talent, but because her image isn't what these more well-off people are, she's marked down for it.
Better dressed to compete. That was basically the reason they gave it at the start.
Yeah, because I think there's a bit of
she doesn't fit in with the image of what basically a top Olympian would be. Fair enough, but it still doesn't excuse the fact that she's an absolute arsehole to everybody in the film.
But that's before she has the heel turn. At that point, she had still the baby face coming up. I know she's from a redneck family, but she still had that arc into being a cunt at that point. She just had, that's probably just another stone in camel's back. It turns out that the person she becomes.
Maybe I am being a bit harsh. I suppose I'll hear what you guys think about it, but like I don't know. I just kind of got the impression throughout the film that she was just pretty, like, she had a chip on her shoulder, basically, which is fair enough if you've, do you know what I mean? Everybody would want a good relationship with their mum and dad and stuff like that. Not everybody does, so obviously she would have a chip on her shoulder for that. But at the end of the day, you still need to be nice to people, guys.
Yeah, I think it's quite a conflicted message on it, because there is, when you watch it through the upbringing and the abuse that she receives from her mum, and the way that she's spoken down to the whole time, and that she acts out in certain ways where she's not bothered about her image and how she looks, so she just wants to skate because she's talented at it and she enjoys it. But actually, the backgroundness that goes on amongst her affects her results in her performance, which is probably quite a difficult thing to understand and take, and it's one of those barriers that you'd never wish upon anyone. But how many talented people are out there that hadn't made it to the Olympics because they couldn't get the right dress to wear, or they couldn't have the best shoes to wear, and there's less talented people out there.
It is always a really valid point. I had this argument in my work last year, and they were like, Usain Bolt's the fastest guy in the world. I was like, he's just the fastest guy that's done 100-metre sprinting in the world. There's 6 billion. There's somebody out there that's faster than him. They've just got a chance to train and be that fast. Anyway.
That's it. It's an interesting one, because I'll come back. I'll swing back around to it in a second. But I was having this conversation recently about athletes, and it was about people that make that choice at that 16, 17-year-old age. Do they stick to working, or do they stick to the sport that they're doing on no money, or do they go get a job to make money? Because that's kind of what you need at that point in your life. And there'll be loads of talented people out there that haven't been able to pursue their dream. And I think my sympathy lies with her here, because she's got that mitigating circumstance that she's not really in control of it from a young age growing up, and it's always impacted her. And she'll be a jealous, like, frustrated person by this, which doesn't excuse her actions or her contribution towards how she treats people. But there is obviously one of those factors where you have to kind of not give her a little bit of rope, but there's a bit of understanding, I suppose. I'd say
you've got a bit of, you can sort of see it from her viewpoint, whereas her husband's just a total arsehole the full film.
He's a fucking absolute.
Whereas you can see maybe why she's turned out, sort of why she's like that, because of her upbringing, and then also because of, like you say, when she started skating, and then she's just told, well, you might be a good skater, but you know what we're looking for because of what you look like, not what you look like, sorry, how you're dressed and what your background is, because we're not saying as well at one point that because she wasn't, that was why she got back with a husband at one point as well, because they wanted somebody that had like a family and stuff like that, or relationship.
Yeah. She had to have a squeaky sort of clean image and that, but I mean, I think to American people, Tonya Harding is a bit like, who's a good example, like Kerry Katona is to us. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a good example. Like, someone that's just like,
I wouldn't say that Kerry Katona had all the potential in the world to be the best in her profession. I don't think she's sung a note in her fucking life.
Atomic Kitten's first album is class. So if they no, but
going downhill after Hole again for Atomic Kitten.
What I mean more is like how she's perceived in the public. Do you mean?
She should never have married Brian McFadden. There should never.
I don't know that. I would assume Tonya Harding has been on multiple reality TV shows in America. I would
She's been on
assume.
Dancing. Let me say it.
I was actually just looking at this a second ago. Dancing with the Stars. She obviously did a boxing thing as well. She was on. She was a presenter of True TV Presents the World's Dumbest, and it was about record breaking and stuff. She was a winner of the Worst Cook in America.
Basically,
Yeah.
gutter
She's fucking-
reality TV show.
Yeah.
Kelly Katona. But aye, on this movie, definitely I'm more on Sean's side. I think the balance between how much background you get, how much skating you get, how much documentary bit you get versus the actual narrative, I think it's really well balanced. It kept me interested in something that I'm not very interested in. And I was quite impressed that they'd managed to take what is essentially a couple of idiots, come up with a really shitty plan, and they get caught. That, like, there wasn't much to the story. And to make that come across as what's ended up quite a cool film, I think. Like, stylistically, it's really cool. Like, Margot Robbie's comes across really well in it. She's got a couple of wee moments, like, see where she's doing the makeup and she's trying not to cry, that are quite powerful moments. But then at other times, she's quite funny, she's comical, she's lighthearted. She was really believable as, like, Tonya Harding. I don't know who, like I said, we don't know who she is, but I just watched that, even that she was Tonya Harding. It was cool. I think this was maybe a bit of a breakout for Margot Robbie to be taken a bit more seriously, that she can do both sides of the sort of, I suppose she was the reason this was picked, actresses. But this is the second time I've watched it. I would say it's sort of a one and done type film for me. Watching the film and then doing what Sean did, Googling it a little bit afterwards, that was enough for me. I'm going to come back and watch it again. I will be honest, I wasn't all that interested because I'd seen it before. It's not really got any rewatch value in it. I like it. One thing Bugsy mentioned that I really liked is her mum, the actress who plays her, is brilliant. The way she plays that is class. And a really good moment I thought was when that was another bit where Margot Robbie got to sort of display her acting a little bit, was when the mum comes and like reassures her with the press outside, but actually she had the tape recorder in her pocket.
Yeah.
And so it just sort of showed, I think that was a really good portrayal of how to excuse Tonya Harding's sort of behaviour, is that she's never really had any positive example in her life. I mean, she's only ever had bad, and what she probably went through, the only touches on it, but see, there were the ages, whatever it was, 4 or 5 years old, up to when she was in her 20s, really always being the outsider, having to turn up every day to that skating, knowing that everyone fucking stares at you, and nobody likes you, and nobody actually wants you to be there. Like, that's a pretty hard thing to do. So, I don't know, it's ultimately made me feel like I feel bad for her. If I'm going to fall on the side of that fence on the debate, I'm going to say I did feel bad for her.
I think as well, to add on what you said, Daniel, is when her mum comes in and she's wired, is that you could see, obviously, Margot Robbie in terms of even her expressions, that she's desperate she wants to open up to her, and she's thinking, oh, mum actually cares about me. And just as she's ready to do that and sort of soften, then obviously she clicks on, she's like, oh, nobody still likes me, basically. And then she's back to square one again, basically. Again, of not having anybody that she can turn to, which I think that's kind of partly as well why I felt sorry for her, because she hasn't really got anyone. And obviously the guy that was her husband, he's got his pals that are all idiots, but he's at least got them who did seem to care about the start and obviously turning them as the film goes on. But yeah, it was just add on to what you said.
Hunter, you're sitting very quiet.
Yes, I was just kind of waiting my turn. That was it. So I went to see this at the cinema with my good lady back when it came out, as we are both massive Margot Robbie fans for entirely different reasons.
Skating fans. Plot twist.
Feeling a bit underwhelmed, I think, the first time I've seen it. However, back and rewatched it, I'm glad I did. I enjoyed it a lot more on the second view, and obviously it was a good 5-year gap, so I definitely enjoyed it a lot more this time viewing it. Again, similar to what Sean and Daniel have said, the mix between all the backgrounds and creating the story. Again, as you said, the crux of the story is a very small part in Tonya Harding's life story, as we get to know. It's just the tip of the iceberg, and obviously we get to see the evolution from start to finish near enough, and I enjoyed it very much. Alison Janney is the best thing in this for me. I think she's class, and I do like the bit at the end where it kind of shows you the clips, obviously from when they've been interviewed, all the cast have been interviewed, and she's nailed that onto a tee when actual Tonya Harding's mother. It's just the mannerisms, the way she comes across, even though it's just a small snippet. I think she nailed that very well. I did enjoy the fourth wall is broken down and it's done well. I think it's done very well in this. I enjoyed that. The relationship, even though you really call it a relationship, but maybe the on-screen chemistry, even though they were either fucking or fighting between Sebastian Stan and Margot Robbie, they did have a good on-screen chemistry. As I said, similar to what you said, Daniel, there is a degree of sympathy. She has been very, very hard done by, and she's not been afforded not the luxuries, but the same opportunities and the same comfortable lifestyle that those that she's competing against have had. And obviously it comes across she has a fiery, so she's had to battle against one form of oppression, whether it be from one mother, whether it be from coaches, whether it be from other people. She's had to fight against it one way or another. And again, that's what she's maybe just channeled the energy wrong, and that's how she's ended up the way that she has. But again, it's a good film. I would recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it and they're maybe looking for something a bit different than maybe what they'd normally watch. But as I said, I did enjoy it.
Happy days. Nice. Happy days. I'm actually glad that it was this one over the other Margot Robbie alternative that we had, which was mentioned earlier in I See You. I just wanted to bring this up because I was having a quick look at it to see where it was in terms of her career. So it was her second ever movie. She plays a character called Tristan Waters, who has a brother called Troy Waters, and they're very Australian names. Just want to read the synopsis of it here. A 2009 Australian thriller. It's Margot Robbie's second film. It tells the story of three bored people who, after filming and spying on their neighbours, are targeted by a serial killer.
Sounds pretty good.
It's meant to be fucking bad, like bad.
And I remember Dark Crime seemed like a good idea when they first read the synopsis for it too.
I had to look when I chose it, and I think there's only like one. I think it's either Margot Robbie and one other of the cast members, or just her, that have even got a Wikipedia page. So it suggests that maybe the rest of them haven't done much with their careers.
God. Well, the 592 people that have reviewed it on IMDb have gave it a massive score of a 2.7 out of 10, which I think we will score I Tonya a little bit higher than that. But Hunter, do you have any trivia you want to go through first of all before we move on to scoring?
I do, yes. I mean, there's not a lot trivia again, because it is sort of largely based on the two events that actually happened. But the small snippets that I do have is Alison Janney's role was filmed just over 8 days. And obviously she was an Oscar winner for that. So 8 days working to get an Academy Award. So again, who are we to argue with the Academy? Sebastian Stan actually met Jeff, was it Gully Lolly, whatever his second name was, 2 weeks before shooting to help get some perspective on the man himself. And although Margot Robbie was a member of an amateur ice hockey league, she actually had very little skating experience before taking on this role. And this was the fact that blew my mind the most. Obviously, not the fact that Margot, there's just saying that neither Sebastian Stan or Margot Robbie are American. We know that Margot Robbie's Australian, but Sebastian Stan being Romanian blew my mind.
He's Romanian?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
That's cool. Just because I clocked it earlier, we were talking about the guy from Prison Break in the previous movie for Fargo. He's born in Sweden. Sorry.
Oh, I thought he was Russian.
Swedish.
Oh, he always plays Russians in movies.
Sorry, Hannah.
Is he Swedish, is he?
Two final snippets here. So Margot Robbie's Oscar nomination for Best Actress was the only one for a film that year that did not also receive a Best Picture nomination. And finally, Tonya never actually said the word "suck my dick" to the judges when they gave her the bad score. However, after watching the film, Tonya Harding does wish that she had said that to the judges now.
There's something really effective about a female character saying "suck my dick." Like, It just works on like loads of levels.
It wouldn't have the same effect if like a guy was to say the opposite. Like, you would just look at him like, what the fuck?
What would you say, Sean?
I'm not opposite. I want you to say it out loud.
I'm not saying it. I'll text you it out.
You want to do is comment it under one of the posts so you can read it out next week as a comment.
Aye. I'll go on one of my burner accounts, Kyle, and do that.
All the ones that were voting against Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay, so let's get to scoring for I, Tonya. Burnsy, kick it off for us.
So I think my score's going to be slightly higher than what my review has suggested. I'm going to give it a 3.
3. Daniel?
I'm giving it slightly higher than that. I'm giving it a 3.25. It's fairly enjoyable.
Yeah. I'm just going to go that little step above you, Daniel, at 3.5. I would watch again. Sean?
It's another 4 for me. I did really enjoy it. I forgot to say the soundtrack was brilliant as well, so I would definitely watch it again, so 4.
Okay, I'm sure you fairly enjoyed yourself this week. This is unusual.
I know, aye. I'll be sucked out next week.
I know.
Hunter?
Sean, your mentioning of the soundtrack just made me remember that Fleetwood Mac was on this, so it's went from 3.5 to 3.75 for me.
3.75, sorry.
Yeah.
Cool. That's an overall 3.5.
3.5. Let's see what company we have for I, Tonya. It is coming in at joint 35 alongside Joker.
It's better than Joker.
I think that's the Joker, easily.
Just behind Halloween and in front of Birdman.
I think that's pretty fair. I feel like I kind of wish I'd used, since you spoiled my downvote when we had the anniversary show, I kind of wish I'd used it for Joker.
See, you should have, and then we could have Spider-Man being over a 5.
Well, we've got another Spider-Man to come, which might get over a 5 for me.
Well, that's it. So let's talk about...
you, it will not.
So, just to finish off these two movies here then, guys, so thanks for listening to us talking about Fargo and I, Tonya, two quite high-scoring movies for this week. We've got one coming in at 14th on the list, the other one coming in at 35 on the list as well. So the guys have mentioned a couple of times throughout this recording about the movies that are coming up for next week. The category that we did have was non-MCU comic book movies. Guys, I'm really well aware of how much I'm talking through my nose at this point.
I was just going to say it's got worse now.
Oh, I just cannot breathe. I cannot breathe through this nose at the moment, so I will swiftly pass this along shortly. But we did have quite a good list of comic book movies that were on the list. Daniel, talk us through how that went on Instagram.
I'll happily talk instead of you, Kyle.
Comic book movies.
Oh, I feel bad for you. So we did non-MCU comic book movies, which is one that I've been kind of looking forward to for a while. And we had quite a wide selection. So we had like classic Batman 89, we had Old Superman 1978 as Sean's request, and we had some stuff that's maybe less known for being comic book related, like Sin City and Old Boy, which is one of the ones that won. So Old Boy was based on a manga comic. So a few people in the comments were quite surprised it was in there. So I was shocked to see that win. And on the other side, we had Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which John isn't interested in because it's animated.
It's a cartoon.
That's what cartoons are, animated.
Let's use the proper term, a cartoon.
Now,
And also,
I do hope, Sean, that you're going to be going into this with an open mind and not just dismissing it straight away.
No, well.
I've definitely got a bad feeling I'm going to not enjoy these. Put it out there now.
I've never heard of it. Is it Old Boy? I've never heard of that in my life.
You never heard of it? Oh, man. You're in for an absolute treat. I can see Old Boy coming back with more than 1 5-star. And then every year. You think I'm joking? Like, it's honestly like amazing. You'll love it.
Oh, it's a foreign film, isn't it? For fuck's sake.
You love Parasite. It's Korean as well, like Parasite.
Thank God I'm fluent in Korean after watching Parasite then.
And you watched Squid Game, did you know?
I gave up not halfway through.
Well, I've absolutely no idea what you've just spoke about there.
Next, since Kyle's done much.
Sorry, I had to go off.
I was going to say, right, we've got a bonus film next week as well for Friday night's trip.
Thank you, Hunter. This is why Kyle hosts it and I don't do all the talking. We're also going to go to the cinema to see the Batman, the new Robert Pattinson Batman, which John will be delighted. Did you know before we booked the tickets that it was over 3 hours long?
I didn't even know the tickets were booked, but I seen it when we were talking about it. Are the tickets booked?
Yep.
I think so. I owe you money, Kyle.
I didn't know. Sorry, I'll send you.
Yes, you saw me when I
Did you
got.
actually tell us they were booked? Did you put in the chat they were booked?
Yep.
Right.
Never seen.
So Sean clearly reads what's going on in his missing current affairs in there. But yes, we are going to the cinema to see Batman on Friday coming, is it?
Yeah,
It is.
Yes.
A nice 3.5 hour stint in the cinema. Absolutely no chance we'll all stay awake throughout that whole time. I will, because I'll be proper geeking out on it anyway. But I am, just want to put it there, I'm very, very much looking forward to this week's movies. I'm probably going to watch Spider-Man tomorrow because it's absolutely spectacular, so I'm buzzing for that. But let's see if we could cheer up Sean with a spin of the wheel to see what's going to go on the category for the week after. Any hopes, guys? Any things you're looking for?
Ideally, your own choices, I suppose. Assuming we're all still on the list.
For a long time, I feel like I'm overdue. Because on the last wheel, when it was getting down towards me, we decided, let's make a giant fucking wheel.
What happens, Daniel?
As well. Comes now.
Daniel, your name's popped up the last couple of weeks. I just tell you it's something different. Well, I'm hoping we get something like musicals or MCU. That would be my two hopes. Or me, because I'm going to fill it full of MCU and musicals. So the wheel is spinning now, guys. I do not cheat with this. Watch it coming with my name. The absolute funny is anything part of this, Daniel, is it's just skipped past your name and went to follower's choice.
Nice.
So,
We want to format that. So people on Instagram, if you're listening, this is your chance to pick.
yeah, that's it, guys. So get following, get interacted. It will be a busy one for Daniel this week when it comes to Instagram. I'm sure I can give him a hand from sitting here in my bed. We will find out what people want to watch. Right in between Daniel and horror there. Both of those categories would have been good, It's always interesting to see what the followers like, because people get so angry about how we vote stuff, and they think that some movies that we give average votes to should be 5s or 1s. So it's always a good indication.
Is every week no follower's choice, considering that they vote on them?
No,
Let's see how this is going to work.
I would assume. That's what we're going to do. So
We're going to let them pick the 16.
How the fuck are we going to do that?
The magic of the social media.
Like there's no do anything, or even read messages in the chat and then wait and see what I do.
Aye, so we put a story out saying we like to see that we've not already reviewed that's on these streaming platforms. We get a few in and we put the best 16 out to vote.
Guys.
Or however many we get in, we put them in some kind of vote.
Guys, we still can't get Sean to watch the fucking films that he's supposed to watch. Never mind doing anything extra.
I did. Sorry about that. I did genuinely forget. I'm actually looking forward to watching it.
Well, that does bring us to...
I was meant to be serious there.
So you'll want to get 5 done then for next Monday?
Camden, no.
This is like when someone gets into debt and it just keeps...
I know, it's just going to keep going and going and going. I mean, it's just going to get really bad because I'm about to break some bad news to you in a wee minute, so it's going to get even worse.
Oh, God.
You just leave us hanging then?
We'll have that as an offline.
Tune in next week to find out what the bad news is.
Let's leave that on a cliffhanger and we'll tell you what fucking bullshit Sean's spinning us after.
It's not bullshit.
There we go, guys. Well, listen, that is us for tonight. I thank you very much for taking the time to listen in to us and downloading. But we bid you morons farewell.